The polished marble of the lobby reflected the hurried footsteps of 1,000 lives, but few ever truly saw the woman behind the reception desk. Her smile, though warm, often held a flicker of apology, a silent acknowledgement of a world that measured worth in slender silhouettes and effortless strides. "I'm sorry. I get winded climbing stairs," she'd once confessed, her voice barely a whisper, to a pair of uniformed firemen whose gazes had lingered on her generous frame. They saw a limitation. They saw a stereotype. But what unseen reserves of courage lay dormant within her, waiting for the moment when the ground beneath their feet would tremble, and the true measure of a hero would be found not in speed, but in the unwavering beat of a brave, big heart. This is the story of a woman who, when panic seized the city, proved that the most powerful strength often hides in plain sight. If this intriguing glimpse into a hidden strength has already sparked your curiosity, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Your support helps this channel grow and allows us to bring more deeply human and inspiring narratives like this one to life. Thank you. The lobby of the Sterling Tower hummed with the predictable rhythm of a Tuesday morning. The scent of fresh coffee mingled with the faint, metallic tang of the city outside, a constant backdrop to the endless parade of tailored suits, hurried footsteps, and the incessant ring of phones. At the heart of this organized chaos sat Elowen Ellie Finch, the building's primary receptionist. Ellie, in her early 30s, was a woman of generous proportions, her figure undeniably heavyset. Her uniform, a smart navy blazer and skirt, was always meticulously clean and pressed, but it stretched a little tighter across her chest and hips than she sometimes wished. Her dark, intelligent eyes, framed by thick-rimmed glasses, missed nothing. She possessed a kind, open face, often softened by a shy smile, and a cascade of rich, dark brown hair that she usually kept pulled back in a neat, practical bun. For Ellie, the reception desk was more than just a job. It was a vantage point. From her perch, she observed the intricate dance of human behavior, the hurried executive forgetting his ID, the nervous job applicant smoothing her skirt, the delivery person struggling with an oversized package. She knew the regulars by name, by their preferred coffee order, and by the subtle anxieties etched on their faces. She was the quiet anchor of the Sterling Tower, a reassuring presence in a world that often moved too fast. Yet, despite her competence and her warm demeanor, Ellie was acutely aware of how others perceived her. The subtle glances, the fleeting expressions of surprise when she effortlessly navigated a complex phone system, the unspoken assumption that her size equated to a lack of capability. The stairs, in particular, were a constant, silent judgment. The Sterling Tower boasted 20 floors, and while the elevators were efficient, fire drills and occasional maintenance meant the stairs were a necessary evil. Ellie, though perfectly capable of climbing them, often found herself slightly winded, and the self-consciousness of her heavy breathing in front of others was a constant, quiet burden. Her manager, Ms. Bronwyn Reed, was one of the few who saw beyond Ellie's physical appearance. Ms. Reed, a sharp, no-nonsense woman with a keen eye for talent, had hired Ellie 2 years ago, impressed by her calm under pressure, her exceptional organizational skills, and her innate empathy. "Ellie, you're the backbone of this place," Ms. Reed would often say, a rare compliment from the usually reserved manager. "You handle everything with grace, even when I'm tearing my hair out." Not everyone shared Ms. Reed's enlightened view. Mr. Peregrine Croft, a tenant on the 15th floor, was a prime example. A man in his late 50s with a perpetually impatient scowl and an air of self-importance, Mr. Croft often treated Ellie with thinly veiled condescension. He would bark orders, complain about minor inconveniences, and occasionally make pointed remarks about efficiency, his gaze lingering on Ellie's figure. One particularly busy afternoon, the fire alarm blared through the lobby, a piercing, insistent shriek that sent a jolt of panic through the building. It was a drill, as indicated by the pre-recorded announcement that followed, but the sudden noise still caused a flurry of startled reactions. People jumped from their seats, phones dropped, and a wave of nervous chatter erupted. Mr. Kalen Thorne, the building's security chief, a burly man with a no-nonsense attitude, immediately took charge, directing people towards the emergency exits. "All right, folks, calm down. It's a drill. Use the stairs. Do not use the elevators." Ellie, despite the sudden adrenaline surge, remained calm. Her training kicked in. She quickly grabbed the emergency clipboard, her mind already ticking through the evacuation protocols. As people began to stream past her, a few looking bewildered, others annoyed, she offered reassuring smiles and clear directions. Mr. Croft, however, was not reassured. He stormed past the desk, his face red with irritation. A drill? Now? This is utterly inconvenient. And I suppose we have to use the stairs, don't we? What a waste of time. He shot a dismissive glance at Ellie, as if her very presence somehow contributed to the inconvenience. Ellie simply nodded, her gaze steady. Yes, Mr. Croft. The stairs are the safest route during an alarm. Please proceed to the nearest exit. As the lobby slowly emptied, Ellie noticed an elderly woman, Mrs. Maeve Sterling, from the 10th floor residential units, struggling near the elevators. Mrs. Sterling, frail and with a pronounced limp, looked utterly bewildered and frightened. She was clutching her purse tightly, her eyes wide with panic. Oh dear, Mrs. Sterling mumbled, looking helplessly at the out-of-order sign on the elevator. I can't possibly manage all those stairs. My knee, you see. It's quite bad today. Ellie's heart went out to her. She knew the stairs were a challenge for Mrs. Sterling even on a good day. Without hesitation, Ellie stepped out from behind her desk, her own breathing already a little heavier from the stress of the alarm. It's all right, Mrs. Sterling, Ellie said, her voice calm and soothing. It's just a drill. But we do need to get you out safely. Don't worry. I'll help you. Just then, Captain Theron Vance and firefighter Lysander Cole, part of the local fire department's drill assessment team, entered the lobby. Captain Vance, a stern-faced man with a commanding presence, surveyed the emptying lobby, his eyes sharp and critical. Firefighter Cole, younger and more observant, noticed Ellie immediately, her calm demeanor a stark contrast to the lingering panic in the air. Captain Vance approached Ellie, his expression professional but unyielding. Is everyone evacuated from this floor, ma'am? And are you prepared to evacuate yourself? His gaze, though not overtly judgmental, seemed to assess her size, perhaps wondering about her speed in an actual emergency. Ellie, holding Mrs. Sterling's arm gently, met his gaze. Almost, sir. Mrs. Sterling here needs a little assistance with the stairs. And yes, I'm prepared to evacuate. I'm sorry. I get winded climbing stairs, she added, her voice a little softer, a hint of self-consciousness creeping in. But I can manage. I just need to make sure Mrs. Sterling is safe. Captain Vance's brow furrowed slightly. He glanced at Mrs. Sterling, then back at Ellie, a flicker of something unreadable in his eyes. Firefighter Cole, however, offered a small reassuring nod. He saw not a limitation, but a quiet act of compassion. The alarm continued to blare, a constant reminder of the potential danger. But in that moment, Ellie's focus was solely on the frail woman beside her, her own physical challenges momentarily forgotten in the face of another's need. The drill was far from over, and for Ellie, the real test was just beginning. If Ellie's quiet courage and her immediate empathy for Mrs. Sterling are captivating you, please show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your engagement helps us continue to share these powerful and uplifting stories. The piercing shriek of the fire alarm continued its relentless assault on the senses, a stark reminder of the urgency of the situation. For Ellie Finch, however, the noise faded into a dull background hum, as her focus narrowed to the frail figure beside her. Mrs. Maeve Sterling, her hand trembling in Ellie's, looked up at the daunting stairwell, her face a mask of fear and exhaustion. It's all right, Mrs. Sterling, Ellie repeated, her voice a steady anchor in the rising tide of panic. We'll take it slow, one step at a time. I'm right here with you. Captain Theron Vance, his gaze still assessing, watched them. Firefighter Lysander Cole, however, stepped forward slightly, a flicker of concern in his eyes. Ma'am, perhaps we can assist the elderly lady? It's a long way down from the 10th floor. Ellie appreciated the offer, but a stubborn resolve hardened her gaze. This was her building, her responsibility, and she knew, deep down, that she could do this. Thank you, officer, but I've got her. Mrs. Sterling and I know these stairs well. We'll be fine. She offered a small, reassuring smile to Mrs. Sterling, then gently guided her towards the stairwell door. The descent began. Each step was a deliberate effort. Mrs. Sterling leaned heavily on Ellie, her breath coming in shallow gasps. Ellie, despite her own body's protests, focused entirely on the woman beside her. She adjusted her grip, shifted her weight, and offered constant words of encouragement. "Just a few more steps, Mrs. Sterling. You're doing wonderfully." Ellie felt the familiar strain in her calves, the slight burn in her lungs. Her heavy-set frame, often a source of self-consciousness, now felt like a sturdy fortress, a reliable anchor for Mrs. Sterling. She ignored the occasional glances from other evacuees who hurried past them, some with impatience, others with a fleeting look of pity. She knew what they saw: a large woman, struggling with an elderly one, slowing down the evacuation. But what they didn't see was the unwavering resolve in her heart, the quiet determination that propelled her forward. If Ellie's unwavering dedication to Mrs. Sterling and her quiet strength in the face of physical challenge are inspiring you, please show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your engagement helps us continue to share these powerful and uplifting stories. As they reached the 9th floor, the stairwell door burst open, and Mr. Peregrine Croft emerged, his face flushed with annoyance. He saw Ellie and Mrs. Sterling moving at a snail's pace, and his impatience flared. "Honestly, this is ridiculous," Mr. Croft huffed, gesturing dismissively at them. "Can't you move any faster? Some of us have important appointments. This is precisely why they should have more efficient personnel in these positions." His gaze lingered on Ellie's figure, the implication clear. Ellie felt a surge of indignation, but she swallowed it, refusing to let his negativity derail her focus. "We're moving as quickly and safely as possible, Mr. Croft," she replied, her voice calm but firm. "Mrs. Sterling's safety is paramount." Captain Vance, who had followed them down, stepped in. "Sir, please maintain order. This is an emergency evacuation. Your complaints are unhelpful." Mr. Croft, chastened by the firemen's authority, grumbled and hurried past them, casting one last disdainful look at Ellie. Firefighter Cole, however, offered Ellie a small, encouraging smile. He had witnessed the exchange, and the contrast between Mr. Croft's self-centeredness and Ellie's selfless dedication was stark. He saw the sweat beading on Ellie's forehead, the slight tremor in her hands, but also the unwavering resolve in her eyes. "You're doing great, ma'am," Firefighter Cole said softly. "Just keep going." Ellie nodded, grateful for the quiet encouragement. She focused on the rhythm of their steps, the steady beat of her own heart. She thought of her Aunt Isolde, who had always taught her that true strength wasn't about physical prowess, but about inner fortitude. "Never let anyone make you feel small, Ellie," Aunt Isolde would say. "Your heart is bigger than any judgment." They continued their slow, arduous descent. Each floor felt like a small victory. On the 7th floor, Mrs. Sterling stumbled slightly, her knee giving way. Ellie, with a quick, powerful movement, braced her, preventing a fall. Her muscles screamed in protest, but she held firm, her strength surprising even herself. "Oh, my dear, I'm so sorry," Mrs. Sterling whispered, tears welling in her eyes. "I'm slowing you down." "Nonsense," Ellie replied, her voice firm. "We're a team, Mrs. Sterling. We'll get there together." She shifted Mrs. Sterling's weight slightly, offering her more support, and they continued their journey. If Ellie's unwavering support for Mrs. Sterling and her quiet defiance against Mr. Croft's judgment are inspiring you, please show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your engagement helps us continue to share these powerful and uplifting stories. As they reached the 5th floor, Ellie's breathing was heavy, her face flushed, but her determination remained unbroken. She could feel the fatigue settling deep in her bones, but the thought of Mrs. Sterling's vulnerability spurred her on. She knew that in a real emergency, every second counted, and she was committed to ensuring Mrs. Sterling's safety, no matter the personal cost. Suddenly, the piercing shriek of the fire alarm stopped. The abrupt silence was almost deafening, a stark contrast to the relentless noise that had filled the stairwell. A moment later, Mr. Kalen Thorne's voice crackled over the building's intercom system. "Attention, all occupants. The drill is now concluded. All clear. You may return to your offices." A collective sigh of relief swept through the remaining evacuees in the stairwell. People began to chatter, some laughing nervously, others complaining about the inconvenience. Ellie, however, felt a different kind of relief, a quiet, profound satisfaction. She had done it. She had navigated the stairs, supporting Mrs. Sterling, through the entire drill. She was winded, yes, but she was also triumphant. Captain Vance and Firefighter Cole approached them, their expressions now entirely different. Captain Vance's stern demeanor had softened, replaced by a look of genuine respect. Firefighter Cole offered a warm, approving smile. "Ma'am," Captain Vance said, his voice devoid of its earlier assessment, filled instead with admiration. "That was exemplary. Your calm under pressure and your dedication to Mrs. Sterling's safety were truly commendable. You ensured her well-being above all else." Mrs. Sterling, her face still pale, but now radiating gratitude, squeezed Ellie's hand. "She's my angel, Captain. My absolute angel. I don't know what I would have done without her." Ellie felt a blush creep up her neck, but she met Captain Vance's gaze directly. "Just doing my job, sir, making sure everyone is safe." "More than just your job, Miss Finch," Firefighter Cole added. "You showed true courage. Many people would have prioritized their own evacuation. You prioritized hers." Captain Vance nodded in agreement. "Indeed. You've taught us a valuable lesson today, Miss Finch. Courage isn't measured in speed or size. It's found in the heart that never gives up." He paused, then added, "And for the record, you handled those stairs admirably, despite your earlier concern." Ellie offered a genuine, unself-conscious smile. The validation, coming from the very people who had initially assessed her with a hint of skepticism, felt incredibly powerful. It wasn't just about proving them wrong. It was about proving to herself that her perceived limitations were no match for her inner strength. If Captain Vance's changed perception and Ellie's quiet triumph are deeply moving you, please show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your engagement helps us continue to share these powerful and uplifting stories. The aftermath of the fire drill brought a subtle but significant shift in the atmosphere of the Sterling Tower. Word of Ellie's actions spread quickly, recounted by Mrs. Sterling to anyone who would listen, and observed by others who had witnessed her unwavering dedication. Ms. Bronwyn Reed, Ellie's manager, called her into her office later that day, her face alight with pride. "Ellie, I heard all about it. You were incredible. Mrs. Sterling can't stop singing your praises. And Captain Vance himself called to commend your actions. He said you were a credit to the building." Ellie felt a warmth spread through her. "Thank you, Ms. Reed. I just did what anyone would do." "Not everyone, Ellie," Ms. Reed corrected gently. "Many people would have panicked, or left Mrs. Sterling to fend for herself. You showed true leadership and compassion. It's exactly why I hired you." Ms. Reed then added, "I'm going to ensure your performance review reflects this, and I'll be recommending you for the Employee of the Quarter award. You deserve it." Even Mr. Peregrine Croft, who had been so dismissive earlier, seemed to have undergone a slight change. The next morning, as he passed the reception desk, he paused. "Miss Finch," he said, his voice gruffer than usual, but with a hint of something that might have been respect. "I heard about your actions yesterday, with Mrs. Sterling. Well done." It wasn't an apology, but for Mr. Croft, it was a monumental acknowledgement. Ellie simply smiled, a genuine, unself-conscious smile. She didn't need his validation, but it was a small sign that perceptions were shifting, one act of courage at a time. The fire department, particularly Firefighter Cole, began to treat Ellie with a newfound respect. When they conducted their routine checks, they would often stop at her desk, chatting with her, asking for her insights on building safety, recognizing her as a valuable asset, not just a receptionist. Firefighter Cole, in particular, often sought her out, genuinely impressed by her calm demeanor and her sharp observations. "Ellie," Firefighter Cole said one day, "you have a real knack for spotting things. You notice details others miss, and your ability to stay calm when everyone else is losing their heads, that's a rare gift." Ellie, who had always seen herself as just a quiet observer, began to realize the power of her own perspective. Her heavy-set frame, which had often made her feel conspicuous, now felt like a symbol of her resilience, her strength, her unwavering presence. She had always been underestimated, but now her actions were speaking louder than any judgment. She had proven that courage wasn't measured in speed or size, but in the heart that never gave up, and in the quiet strength that emerged when it was needed most. The Sterling Tower, once a place where she felt subtly judged, was slowly becoming a place where she was truly seen, truly valued, and truly respected. The quiet triumph of the fire drill lingered in the air of the Sterling Tower, a subtle but palpable shift in the way Ellie Finch was perceived. The grudging nod from Mr. Peregrine Croft, the genuine praise from Ms. Bronwyn Reed and the profound respect in Captain Theron Vance's eyes were all small victories that, collectively, began to dismantle the invisible walls of judgment that had surrounded Ellie for years. She still sat behind her reception desk, but now, her presence felt more substantial, more authoritative. Ms. Reed, true to her word, nominated Ellie for the Employee of the Quarter Award, which she won unanimously. The small ceremony, held in the building's conference room, was attended by many tenants and staff. As Ms. Reed presented the award, she spoke not just of Ellie's calm during the drill, but of her consistent dedication, her meticulous attention to detail, and her unwavering empathy. "Ellie doesn't just manage the front desk," Ms. Reed declared, her voice ringing with pride. "She manages the heart of this building." Ellie, accepting the award, felt a warmth spread through her. It wasn't just a plaque. It was a public acknowledgement of her worth, a validation that transcended her physical appearance. She offered a heartfelt thank you, her voice steady and clear, no longer tinged with apology. The fire department's routine visits also changed. Captain Vance and firefighter Lysander Cole now made a point of stopping at Ellie's desk, not just for protocol, but for genuine conversation. Firefighter Cole, in particular, often sought her out, valuing her keen observations. "Ellie," Firefighter Cole said one afternoon, leaning against the reception desk, "you have an uncanny ability to read people. You know the rhythms of this building better than anyone. Have you ever thought about getting more involved in building safety, beyond just the drills?" Ellie's eyes widened. "More involved? How so?" "Well, for starters, your insights into the evacuation process, especially concerning residents like Mrs. Sterling, are invaluable," he explained. "We're always looking for ways to improve our emergency plans. Your perspective, from the ground up, is something we rarely get." This conversation sparked something in Ellie. She realized her unique position, her intimate knowledge of the building's occupants and its quirks, could be a powerful asset. She began to meticulously review the building's existing safety protocols, identifying potential bottlenecks, suggesting clearer signage, and even proposing a system for identifying residents with mobility issues before an emergency. She presented her ideas to Mr. Kalen Thorne, the security chief, who, initially surprised by her initiative, quickly recognized the merit in her suggestions. "Finch, these are actually quite good," Mr. Thorne admitted, poring over her notes. "Very thorough. I hadn't thought of half of these details. If Ellie's growing confidence and her proactive approach to improving building safety are inspiring you, please show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your engagement helps us continue to share these powerful and uplifting stories." Ellie's suggestions were implemented, making the Sterling Tower a safer, more prepared environment. Her confidence blossomed. She no longer felt the need to apologize for her size or her presence. She walked with a surer step, her head held higher, her smile more genuine and less self-conscious. The subtle glances from others still happened, but now, Ellie met them with a calm, unwavering gaze, a silent challenge that dared them to look beyond the surface. Her bond with Mrs. Sterling deepened into a genuine friendship. Ellie often visited Mrs. Sterling's apartment on her breaks, bringing her tea and listening to her stories. Mrs. Sterling, in turn, became Ellie's most ardent champion, recounting Ellie's bravery to anyone who would listen. "That girl," Mrs. Sterling would declare, "she's got a heart of gold and the strength of an ox, bless her. Don't let her size fool you. She's faster than any of them when it counts." One particularly harsh winter afternoon, a severe ice storm swept through the city, coating everything in a treacherous layer of ice. The Sterling Tower, usually a beacon of warmth and light, was plunged into darkness as a massive power outage hit the entire district. The emergency generators kicked in, providing minimal lighting and power to essential systems, but the elevators ceased functioning and the heating system struggled to maintain warmth. Panic, a far more insidious force than the blare of a fire alarm, began to ripple through the building. Tenants, accustomed to modern conveniences, found themselves isolated, cold, and increasingly anxious. Phones were dead, internet was down, and the bitter cold began to seep into the building's core. Ellie, at her reception desk, felt the familiar surge of adrenaline, but her training and newfound confidence kept her calm. Mr. Kalen Thorne, the security chief, was immediately overwhelmed, fielding calls from frantic tenants trying to coordinate emergency lighting, and dealing with a minor water pipe burst on the 3rd floor due to the cold. "Ellie, I need you to keep the lobby calm," Mr. Thorne barked, his face stressed. "Direct people to the emergency exits if they want to leave, but warn them about the ice. And try to get a head count of who's still in the building." Ellie nodded, her mind already racing. She knew the emergency protocols, but this was different. This was a real crisis, prolonged and unpredictable. She looked out at the lobby, now dimly lit by emergency lights, filled with shivering, anxious faces. She saw young families with small children, elderly residents, and business people trapped and frustrated. If Ellie's calm demeanor in the face of a real crisis and her immediate grasp of the situation are captivating you, please show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your engagement helps us continue to share these powerful and uplifting stories. Ellie took charge of the lobby with a quiet authority that surprised even herself. She moved from behind her desk, her presence a reassuring anchor in the chaos. She spoke in a clear, steady voice, addressing the growing crowd. "Everyone, please remain calm. We have a citywide power outage due to the ice storm. The building's emergency generators are active, providing essential power. The elevators are out, and the stairs are icy, so please exercise extreme caution if you choose to leave." She then began to organize. She directed people to the warmer areas of the lobby, away from the drafty main entrance. She started a manual log of tenants who were leaving, ensuring they signed out and were aware of the dangerous conditions outside. She noticed a young mother struggling with a crying baby and a toddler. Ellie immediately offered her a spare blanket from the first aid cabinet and directed her to a quieter, warmer corner. Mr. Peregrine Croft, who had been attempting to make a call on his dead cell phone, looked up, surprised by Ellie's composure. He had expected panic, or at least a flustered demeanor. Instead, he saw a woman radiating calm competence. "Miss Finch," Mr. Croft said, his voice less condescending than usual. "What exactly is the plan? How long will this last? My apartment is freezing. We're in contact with the power company, Mr. Croft, but they can't give us an estimate yet," Ellie replied, her tone empathetic but firm. "For now, the safest place is here in the lobby, or in your apartments if you have blankets and warm clothing. We're trying to get extra blankets and water bottles distributed to those who need them most." She then turned her attention to the more vulnerable residents. She knew Mrs. Sterling was still in her apartment on the 10th floor. Ellie quickly approached Mr. Thorne, who was still wrestling with the pipe burst. "Mr. Thorne," Ellie said, her voice urgent but controlled. "Mrs. Sterling is on the 10th floor. She has mobility issues. We need to check on her. And there are other elderly residents on the upper floors who might be struggling with the cold and the lack of elevator access." Mr. Thorne, looking overwhelmed, nodded. "You're right, Finch. But I'm swamped here. The pipe burst is getting worse." "I'll go," Ellie volunteered without hesitation. "I know the residents. I can check on them, make sure they're all right, and bring them blankets and water. Firefighter Cole and Captain Vance are still in the building, doing their post-drill assessment. Perhaps they could assist." "Mr. Thorne looked at her, a flicker of surprise, then immense relief in his eyes. "Ellie, are you sure? It's a long climb and it's getting colder." "I'm sure," Ellie replied, her resolve unwavering. She thought of Mrs. Sterling, alone and vulnerable. Her own physical discomfort was secondary. "I'll be careful. Just need a flashlight and a list of the most vulnerable residents." If Ellie's selfless courage to brave the cold and climb the stairs to help others is deeply inspiring you, please show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your engagement helps us continue to share these powerful and uplifting stories. Armed with a heavy-duty flashlight, a stack of emergency blankets, and a list of residents with special needs, Ellie approached Captain Vance and Firefighter Cole, who were in the process of packing up their equipment. "Captain Vance, Firefighter Cole," Ellie began, explaining the power outage and her plan to check on the vulnerable residents on the upper floors. "Mr. Thorne is dealing with a pipe burst, and I was hoping you might be able to assist, especially with Mrs. Sterling on the 10th floor." Captain Vance listened intently, his expression serious. He looked at Ellie, her heavy-set frame laden with blankets, her face determined. He remembered her earlier confession about getting winded on the stairs, and the quiet strength she had shown during the drill. "Miss Finch," Captain Vance said, his voice firm, "that's an excellent initiative, and yes, we'll absolutely assist. Firefighter Cole, you're with Miss Finch. I'll coordinate with Mr. Thorne and ensure the lower floors are secure. Firefighter Cole immediately grabbed his own flashlight and a medical kit. Lead the way, Ellie. He no longer called her ma'am, a subtle but significant sign of his respect. The ascent began. The stairwell was cold and dimly lit by emergency lights, casting long, eerie shadows. Each step was a physical challenge for Ellie, her body already tired from the day's work and the added weight of the blankets. Her breath came in short, sharp gasps, but she pushed through, her mind focused on the people waiting above. Firefighter Cole walked beside her, his presence a silent support, never rushing her, always ready to offer a steadying hand. They reached the 10th floor, Ellie's legs burning, her lungs aching. She knocked on Mrs. Sterling's door. After a moment, the door creaked open, revealing Mrs. Sterling, huddled in a thin shawl, her face pale with cold and fear. "Ellie! Oh, thank goodness!" Mrs. Sterling cried, tears welling in her eyes. "I was so frightened. It's so cold, and I couldn't get anyone on the phone." Ellie immediately wrapped a warm blanket around Mrs. Sterling, her touch gentle and reassuring. Firefighter Cole quickly checked her vitals, ensuring she wasn't suffering from hypothermia. "We're here now, Mrs. Sterling," Ellie said, her voice soothing. "We'll make sure you're warm and safe." She helped Mrs. Sterling to her armchair, offered her a bottle of water, and reassured her that help was on the way. They continued their rounds, checking on other elderly and vulnerable residents on the upper floors. Ellie knew each apartment number, each resident's specific needs, her intimate knowledge of the building proving invaluable. She offered comfort, distributed blankets and water, and relayed critical information to Firefighter Cole, who communicated with Captain Vance via radio. The climb was arduous, physically demanding in a way the drill had never been. Ellie's heavy-set frame, while strong, was not built for sustained, rapid stair climbing, but her resilience, her sheer willpower, propelled her forward. She ignored the burning in her muscles, the chill seeping into her bones, focusing only on the faces of relief and gratitude that greeted them at each door. If Ellie's unwavering compassion and her physical endurance in the face of adversity are deeply inspiring you, please show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your engagement helps us continue to share these powerful and uplifting stories. Hours later, as the first faint glimmer of power returned to parts of the city, Ellie and Firefighter Cole finally made their way back down to the lobby. Ellie was exhausted, her body aching, but her spirit was soaring. They had checked on every vulnerable resident, ensured their safety, and provided much-needed comfort. The lobby was still dim, but a palpable sense of relief had settled over the remaining tenants. Mr. Thorne, having successfully contained the pipe burst, rushed over to Ellie, his face etched with gratitude. "Ellie, you were incredible," Mr. Thorne said, his voice thick with emotion. "You saved us. You literally saved lives tonight. Your initiative, your knowledge of the residents. I don't know what we would have done without you." Mr. Peregrine Croft, who had witnessed Ellie's tireless efforts, approached her, his usual scowl replaced by a look of profound respect, even humility. "Miss Finch," he said, his voice uncharacteristically soft. I was wrong about you. Terribly wrong. You are a remarkable woman. Thank you. Truly." Ellie, tired but deeply moved, simply offered a small, genuine smile. The validation from Mr. Croft, a man who had once embodied her deepest insecurities, was a powerful testament to how far she had come. Captain Vance, who had overseen the entire operation, approached Ellie and Firefighter Cole. "Miss Finch," he said, his voice firm but filled with admiration. "You demonstrated extraordinary courage and leadership tonight. Your actions were heroic. You are a true asset to this building and to this community." He then turned to Firefighter Cole. "Firefighter Cole, your assistance was invaluable, and your judgment in recognizing Miss Finch's capabilities was spot on." Firefighter Cole simply smiled at Ellie, a shared understanding passing between them. He had seen her true strength, not just in a drill, but in a real crisis, where her big heart and unwavering spirit had shone brightest. Ellie, standing amidst the lingering cold and the returning hum of power, felt a profound sense of purpose. She had faced her deepest insecurities, pushed past her physical limitations, and proven that courage wasn't measured in speed or size, but in the heart that never gave up. She was no longer just the heavyset receptionist who got winded climbing stairs. She was the unseen architect of safety, the quiet leader who, when panic filled the building, guided everyone to safety, proving that true strength often hides in plain sight, waiting for the moment to shine. Her journey was a powerful reminder that the most impactful heroes are often those who are initially overlooked, but whose unwavering spirit and compassionate heart ultimately illuminate the path for all. The first rays of dawn, weak and hesitant, filtered through the windows of the Sterling Tower, casting long shadows across the still dim lobby. The power was slowly returning, flickering lights signaling the end of a long, terrifying night. Alone Ellie Finch, though physically exhausted, felt a profound sense of exhilaration. Her body ached from the relentless climb and descent of the stairs. Her eyes burned from lack of sleep, but her spirit was soaring. She had faced a real crisis, pushed past her deepest fears, and emerged not just intact, but triumphant. The gratitude from the residents was overwhelming. Elderly Mrs. Maeve Sterling, now warm and safe in her apartment, insisted on sending down a thermos of hot tea and a plate of homemade cookies for Ellie. Mr. Peregrine Croft, his face still etched with the weariness of the night, approached Ellie with a genuine, heartfelt apology. "Miss Finch," he said, his voice softer than she had ever heard it, "I owe you more than I can say. You were truly extraordinary. I was a fool to ever doubt you." His words, once a source of quiet pain, now felt like a testament to her undeniable impact. Mr. Kalen Thorne, the building's security chief, was effusive in his praise. "Ellie, you're a hero. Plain and simple. Your quick thinking, your knowledge of the residents, your sheer courage, you saved lives last night. I'm putting you in for every commendation possible." Captain Theron Vance and firefighter Lysander Cole, before leaving, shook Ellie's hand with a respect that was palpable. "Miss Finch," Captain Vance stated, his voice firm with admiration, "your actions tonight will be noted in our official report. You exemplified everything we strive for in community safety. It was an honor to work alongside you." Firefighter Cole simply offered a warm, knowing smile, a silent acknowledgement of the bond forged in shared adversity. If Ellie's heroic actions and the profound gratitude she received are deeply moving you, please show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your engagement helps us continue to share these powerful and uplifting stories. The story of Ellie's heroism during the ice storm quickly spread beyond the Sterling Tower. Local news channels, eager for stories of human resilience amidst the widespread power outages, picked up on the narrative. They featured interviews with grateful residents, with Mr. Thorne, and eventually, with Ellie herself. Ellie, initially shy about the spotlight, found her voice. She spoke authentically about her love for the Sterling Tower community, her commitment to safety, and her belief that everyone, regardless of their appearance, possessed an inner strength waiting to be called upon. She spoke about her own struggles with self-consciousness, and how the crisis had forced her to look beyond her perceived limitations. "I used to get winded climbing stairs," she confessed in one interview, a small, self-deprecating smile on her face. "But when people's lives were at stake, I found a strength I didn't know I had. It turns out, courage isn't measured in speed or size. It's found in the heart that never gives up." Her words resonated deeply with countless viewers. Letters and emails poured into the Sterling Tower, thanking Ellie for her inspiration. Women, in particular, reached out, sharing their own stories of being underestimated because of their appearance, finding a powerful role model in Ellie. Ms. Bronwyn Reed, Ellie's manager, was not surprised by the public's reaction. She saw the genuine, unassuming hero that Ellie was. "Ellie," Ms. Reed announced a few weeks later, "the building management has created a new position, Building Safety and Community Liaison. It's a full-time role, with a significant increase in salary and responsibilities, and we want you to take it." Ellie was stunned. It was a formal recognition of her expertise, her leadership, and her invaluable contribution to the building's well-being. It meant stepping away from the reception desk, but it also meant a chance to implement all the safety initiatives she had envisioned, to truly make a difference. I'd be honored, Ms. Reed," Ellie replied, her voice thick with emotion. "Thank you." If Ellie's well-deserved recognition and her new, impactful role are inspiring you, please show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your engagement helps us continue to share these powerful and uplifting stories. Ellie embraced her new role with the same dedication she brought to everything, She worked closely with Mr. Kalen Thorne, revamping the building's emergency protocols, creating detailed evacuation plans for residents with special needs, and organizing regular safety workshops for tenants and staff. She implemented a buddy system for elderly residents during emergencies, and even designed a user-friendly app for reporting maintenance issues and receiving safety alerts. Her office, once a small utilitarian space, became a hub of activity. Firefighter Cole often stopped by, offering insights and collaborating on new safety initiatives. Captain Vance, now a staunch advocate for Ellie, invited her to speak at fire department training sessions, sharing her unique perspective on building safety from a resident-centric viewpoint. Ellie's confidence continued to soar. She no longer saw her heavy-set frame as a limitation, but as a symbol of her strength and resilience. She started taking regular walks, not to lose weight, but to build her stamina, to ensure she was always ready for whatever challenge came next. She began to dress in stylish, tailored outfits that celebrated her figure, radiating an inner glow that was far more captivating than any fleeting ideal of beauty. Her relationship with Mr. Peregrine Croft transformed completely. He became one of her most vocal supporters, often volunteering his time to assist with community safety initiatives. He even apologized publicly for his past behavior, a rare act of humility from the once arrogant man. "Ellie taught me a profound lesson," Mr. Croft once told a local reporter, "that true leadership and compassion have nothing to do with appearance and everything to do with character." Mrs. Sterling, now a sprier version of her former self, thanks to Ellie's encouragement to join a gentle exercise class, remained Ellie's closest confidant. "You know, dear," Mrs. Sterling would often say, "you were always a hero. It just took a little ice storm for everyone else to see it." If Ellie's profound impact on her community and the transformation of those around her are deeply moving you, please show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your engagement helps us continue to share these powerful and uplifting stories. Ellie's influence soon extended beyond the Sterling Tower. Her story, featured in national magazines and online publications, made her a prominent voice in the field of community safety and inclusive emergency planning. She was invited to speak at conferences across the country, sharing her expertise and advocating for a more empathetic, human-centered approach to safety. She became a consultant for other large residential and commercial buildings, helping them develop robust, inclusive emergency plans that considered the needs of all occupants, not just the able-bodied. She started a nonprofit organization, Heartfelt Safety, dedicated to empowering overlooked individuals to become community safety advocates. The organization provided training, resources, and mentorship, encouraging people from all walks of life, regardless of their physical attributes, to step up and make a difference in their communities. She believed that every building, every neighborhood, had its own Ellie Finch, a quiet observer with a big heart, waiting for the chance to shine. One particularly poignant moment came when Ellie was invited to be the keynote speaker at the annual Firefighters Gala, an event attended by firefighters and emergency responders from across the state. Standing on the brightly lit stage, looking out at a sea of uniformed men and women, Ellie felt a profound sense of accomplishment. She remembered her earlier confession to Captain Vance, her shy apology for getting winded on the stairs. Now she stood before them as an equal, a respected colleague, a recognized expert. "Good evening, everyone," Ellie began, her voice clear and strong, resonating with a quiet power. "My name is Elowyn Finch, and yes, it's true, I'm a heavy-set woman. And yes, I still get a little winded climbing 20 flights of stairs. But what I've learned, through fire drills and ice storms, through moments of fear and moments of triumph, is that true courage isn't about how fast you can run, or how much you can lift, or what size uniform you wear." She paused, her gaze sweeping across the room, meeting the eyes of Captain Vance and Firefighter Cole, who sat in the front row, their faces alight with pride. "True courage," Ellie continued, "is about the heart that never gives up. It's about the willingness to put someone else's safety before your own. It's about the quiet strength that emerges when panic fills the air, and you choose to be the calm in the storm. It's about seeing the vulnerability in others and stepping up, even when you're afraid, even when you doubt yourself, even when the world tells you you're not enough." If Ellie's powerful message and her inspiring journey to becoming a respected leader are deeply moving you, please show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your engagement helps us continue to share these powerful and uplifting stories. The audience erupted in a standing ovation, a thunderous applause that filled the grand ballroom. Ellie, her eyes glistening, felt a profound sense of gratitude. She had come full circle, from a self-conscious receptionist, subtly judged for her appearance, to a celebrated hero, a national advocate for safety and inclusion. Years passed, and Ellie's legacy continued to grow. The Sterling Tower became a model for inclusive safety practices, a testament to her vision. The Heartfelt Safety Organization thrived, empowering countless individuals to become active participants in their community's well-being. Ellie, though now in her 50s, remained as dedicated and passionate as ever, her presence radiating a quiet strength and an unwavering compassion. She often visited the Sterling Tower, stopping by the reception desk, now managed by a diverse team of individuals, each bringing their unique strengths to the role. She would sometimes take the stairs, slowly, deliberately, her breath still a little heavy, but her heart filled with a profound sense of peace. She no longer saw the stairs as a symbol of her limitations, but as a reminder of the journey she had undertaken, the challenges she had overcome, and the strength she had discovered within herself. Ellie's life was a powerful testament to the truth that heroes come in all shapes and sizes, that the most impactful leaders are often those who are initially overlooked, but whose unwavering spirit, compassionate heart, and quiet determination ultimately illuminate the path for all. She had proven that courage isn't measured in speed or size. It's found in the heart that never gives up, a heart that, when panic filled the building, guided everyone to safety, and in doing so, transformed not just a building, but an entire community. Her story was an enduring reminder that the most powerful strength often hides in plain sight, waiting for the moment to shine, proving that the true measure of a hero is found in the unwavering beat of a brave, big heart. What an incredibly powerful and inspiring conclusion to a Lowen's journey. If her story of turning self-consciousness into confidence, overcoming stereotypes, and becoming a true hero and leader has deeply moved you, please show your support. Hit that like button, share this video with someone who needs a dose of inspiration, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more powerful and uplifting stories like this one. Your engagement helps us continue to create content that celebrates the human spirit. Thank you for watching.